G'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are out in the garden doing our little garden update, and just over there we have one of the culprits that keeps digging up my mulch, that little black bugger. So we'll shoo him off and get into it. Now my tip for today is Epsom salt. Not only does it soothe tired muscles and regenerate, it also soothes tired plants and regenerates them too. Add some magnesium back into the soil, so it's a wonderful thing. About a teaspoon in a watering can, a tablespoon in a watering can. Just dissolve it in there and go through as you're hand watering and put it out there and put some magnesium back into the soil. Now also, of course, we're going to go out and do a bit of harvesting today. We finally have some beans ready to pick, which you'll see in a bit, and going to pick some spinach as well. So there'll probably be a couple of cooking videos coming up very shortly. All right, off we go. Okay, in the long bed first. That little jalapenos, they're hanging in there, they're coming along. You know, they're not monsters yet, but they're certainly growing. And that's where that little bugger of a bird just covered it up. Our one surviving Performate there, Brucey, you can see that's starting to really start kick along. So that's magnificent. Now you'll see as we go through, there's a lot of pruning sitting on the ground. What I'll do is I'll dig them into the mulch. That way all the nitrogen in them's not going to just get dried out and go to waste. So I'll dig it into the mulch and they'll break down in there. Alright, zucchinis I planted last week, they're up, ready to go. As long as we do not get too hot, then they will kick along and they'll match up the other ones. This one's doing great. You can see there's, because it's a golden zucchini, there's a couple of female fruit down in here. That's that other little one. It's coming along. It's getting there. Let's see what happens with it. Okay, the Nonna's Italian pear. They are starting to reach for the sky, which is great. And again, we've got some more of the pruning sitting in there, just where I've cleared some space around the stuff that's a bit tight in the containers. You can see here where I put in one of the little pumpkin seeds that's come up. So if these pumpkins don't kick on, we'll be fine. There's another one just starting to germinate up there. This one's still doing great guns. It's even got a female fruit in there. And this one here, we have both of the seeds that come up in there, so that's looking good. Alright, onto the Amish paste. The one that gets the most sunshine, that is absolutely kicking it. You know, that's 1.5 foot tall now. The other one's coming along. This one, which is in a bit more shadow. I've got a street side tree out there which shades this for most of the day, so this one's a little bit slower in taking off, but it'll be a bit more protected come summertime. Okay, the grandma pumpkin, they're doing great, they're coming along. That little one, it's still hanging in there. We come down to the cucamelon. That one's starting to climb. This one's coming across. This one's putting some growth on, which is great. And that one's heading for the sky. And we've got our little flowers in this bed as well. Okay, kale, paprika, and sunflower bed. You can see the kale's filled in a lot from where I harvested last week. So, and that'll be ready for another small pick come next week. The paprika, they're doing fantastic. They're doing great guns in there. And this sunflower, it's a monster. So, reaching up for the sky, there's a little one that's in underneath protected. That's coming up as well. So, pretty happy with that little bed. And yes, I still need a weed in there. Okay, our spinach bed starting to get played out. You can see there's quite a few that are starting to head to seed. Now the first ones that head to seed, I'm not going to take the seed from. I want to take the ones that are going to resist going to seed the most. So there's tip number 2 for you. Don't take the first ones heading to seed on your leafy crops. So I will do a harvest, and some of these ones that are heading to seed too early, they will come out. I'll just pop them out and we'll be ready for when the capsicum are heading across here. We got our little sunflower in this bed. Get my shadow off it. Little sunflower in this bed's doing great. So yeah, happy little bed, and it's about to start getting ready for succession. Okay, our Cherokee wax. Now this one, the back is close to the house and it gets sheltered from rain. So it's already suffered from the heat. You can see I've lost this one, and the one on the other side, that's pretty close to going too. So that's the problem with the little container beds, is trying to keep everything going with enough water. You can see here for my harvest, we have a Cherokee wax bean that's coming out. We've got another one down here, and I'll pick through it a bit more closely and see what comes out. Probably just those 2 at the moment, but as you can see, we're not far off from getting some more. Alright, potatoes, doing great. Let's throw in a third tip for the day. With potatoes, you want to keep plenty of water to them. When they're elevated in a container like I do mine, they're free draining, so the water's going to come out. All this foliage up here, in the heat, it's going to lose a heap of moisture out of that foliage, and when a tuber forms, it's also takes a lot of water content for a tuber to form. So you want to water these heavily. They do like heavy watering for the fact that it's got all this foliage that it's got to get water to, and also your tuber formation. So heavy watering, especially when you've got a well draining soil. Alright, across to our violet queen beds. They look so pretty with that rose in the middle of them. I was going to snip it out. I gave it a bit of a prune on the rest of it, but it just looks too pretty. As you can see, we have beans all over the place. Some of them are a little bit too small, but there's a couple in here that are ready for picking. So again, I'll go through that a bit more closely when I'm not holding the camera in one hand and see what I can pick out of it. Alright, across here, our pak choi. As you can see, even the seeding's pretty spotty on it because of the cabbage moth butterfly. Nice little seed head here. These ones are fully formed, pretty much developed out. So I'll get plenty of seed out of that, so it'll be ready to go in again. Alright, on our lazy housewife beans. I look at these things, and they are huge. They are absolutely huge, great big beans. They're a stringless bean, so that's why it's called a lazy housewife, because you've got such big beans on it. They're stringless beans, so they're great picking, great eating. So this one will definitely be the main focus of the harvest for the beans, and once we free it up, it should flower again and we'll get some more beans out of it. But there's beans all over it, which this early in the season, it's just fantastic. Our central raised bed, this squash has gone bonkers. As you can see, I won't be mowing the grass in around the planter because it is just gone crazy. It's down on the ground, you know, it's going great guns. There's female flowers all over it. So my big concentration on this is just sort of pushing all the growth off it to keep it out of the bed because the bed's so tight. We can see a male flower there ready to pollinate. Well, not quite, but that'll be ready tomorrow morning. So if we've got any female, which nothing's quite ready yet to be pollinated, but we're pretty close. So yeah, and there's one that opened today and already closed up in the heat. There's another one that was yesterday's. Okay, the San Lorenzo's just going bonkers. You can see there's flowers in it. We've got the flowers that we had last week. These will be getting tied up during the week. They're going crazy good. So yeah, very happy with them. We move it on to our little pepper plants, or capsicum plants, depends where you come from. They're looking good. This one's got a bit of a lean on it because it had a leaf resting on it. So I've given everything a bit of a prune this morning. Okay, now if we have a look in here, we have a female blossom on the baby blues, and I have hand pollinated that. Just open it up and hand pollinated. Now today I did not have any fresh blossoms on a pumpkin plant, so I've actually used the zucchini. Let's have an experiment and see how it goes. You're obviously not going to save the seed off something that's cross-pollinated, but it is not going to say, it's not going to alter the flavor of the plant. So it's still going to be the mother plant, it's still going to be the baby blue. So if it works, it'll be a baby blue pumpkin, but you do not use the seed because the seed is going to be cross-pollinated. All right, so those baby blues doing awesome. And again, you can see where that squash is just water falling off the edge. Oh, and it's gorgeous. Out the front here, we have our weeby little pumpkins. Yeah, they're doing great. There's female fruit in there, so they are very close to starting to grow. San Lorenzo's coming up, doing awesome. There's flowers in there, not quite ready to blossom yet, but they're not far off. And our little capsicum slash pepper over this side, it's doing great. Now I have planted some more seed where this one snapped off. There's nothing come up yet, but that should only be a day or two away. If it comes up, great. If it doesn't, oh well. And lastly, our little sunflowers over this side, and again, they're huge. They're looking great. All right, well, that's it for the outside section. I'm going to do a quick harvest, and then we'll go have a look at inside. Folks, the inside plants, as you can see, our cucumbers, they're pretty much ready to go out. So I will check the weather, and if it's going to be good, I'll put them out during the week. The tomatoes, I'd like to give them a bit more time, but things are starting to kick outside. So if the weather's going to be fairly mild, I will put them out. Those little cucamelons, they're going slow, and I reckon they would benefit from being outside as well, so they may well go outside this week. The only thing I worry about is they're so small. Our little bell pepper / capsicum lot, yeah, look, they're starting to leaf up, starting to get a bit leafy, so they could probably do with some direct sunlight. So if I'm going to clear some space out of the spinach bed, I may well put some out there. I'll have a look, have a think. So yeah, we may well end up with most of this out by next week. Our produce, and we have our beautiful beans, and we got the yellow wax beans, we've got the purple beans, we've got the green beans, awesome, and a great big pile of spinach, which luckily I have. A recipe that's going to use up a fair chunk of spinach. Let's put it on our scale, zero it out. Okay, and now in ounces at the second. All of our beans in there. Okay, 5.9 ounces of beans. 175 grams. So not a bad first little pick. Let's put our spinach on. Okay, that gives us 585, so about 400 grams of spinach, which gives us 20.6 ounces. Alright, there we are, folks. That is the garden update and our Shed Wars video for the week. So, as you saw, quite a few tips in there, bit of a weigh-in and a bit of an overview of the garden. So, that's where we're at this week, and I will see you again next week. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.